Well, hello, friends. Pastor Eric here. It is Friday, September 4th. And sorry, it's been a little while since I've sent one of these videos out. Obviously, once we resumed in-person worship back in July 19th, hard to believe it's been quite a few weeks since we've done that. Things have been a bit busier. Most of us have been in the office a bit more as well, so kind of got into some new routines and rhythms, and so I apologize for not getting these sent out a little more regularly, because we do recognize that even though we've had folks who've been coming to worship at Emmanuel on Sundays, that the majority of you are still worshiping from home. So definitely want to keep connecting with all of you. Sorry, my wind chime. I really wanted to sit outside because it's so nice out, but I get some breezes here, and so I apologize for the wind chime if it's too loud. Hopefully it will be a nice sound in the background. But yeah, we're grateful for you all and your patience with the services on Sunday mornings as we made this shift to live streaming. Thank you again to Bob Hoagland and Amber Bacon for all the work they've been doing to get those out to you. And it seems like they've kind of ironed out the wrinkles, and we have some good quality productions being sent out. So again, trying to send those out between the services on Sunday mornings, so meaning you'll get it sometime between 10 and 10:30. So again, if you're used to worshiping at 8:30, you gotta wait a little bit longer, but still we're committed to getting it out to you Sunday morning still, so you can have that time to worship and still hopefully start your day, maybe have breakfast before worship and then spend some time in that. So anyway, I hope you all are well. It's been great to see some of you around, and Pastor David and I will just keep trying to make connections, as well as I know the deacons are doing that. So thank you to everybody who's continuing to serve in a variety of ways in this very unusual, unprecedented time. So yeah, it's hard to believe that we're in September now. I can't believe the summer is at an end. It felt like the spring months to me just seemed to drag. Every month just seemed to be double its length. But then once we hit the summer in June, maybe it's because my kids were home, my boys were home from school, and the summer just seemed to fly by. Maybe that was true for you as well. Maybe it dragged for you, I'm not sure. But I just can't believe we're already back in school mode. And so our boys started back to school on Wednesday. They're going to Three Rivers Christian School, and because it's a small enough school, they're one of the options in town that have reopened for in-person learning. Because they're small, they can have social distancing there, and kids are all in masks, and it's a very unique and interesting time there. But so far so good. This is day 3. They're doing great. Little Aubrey also started preschool. She has just, I think, 4 or 5 other kids in her class, so very small, and can keep safe and all. But yeah, it's a pretty big week for us as we transition back into school mode. So one of the things I want to share with you today, before offering a little devotional, is I kind of alluded to this in recent newsletter articles, but I actually have a new opportunity that I'm doing kind of on the side, in addition to my ongoing work at Emmanuel. Nothing's changing there. But I've been doing volunteer chaplaincy work at Three Rivers Christian School, and at the elementary campus. And they've been dreaming, Aaron Hart, the superintendent's been dreaming for a while about kind of a more focused pastoral presence on the lower campus. On the upper campus, middle school and high school, they have several chaplains, so they have a little more of that, but she really wanted more of that on the lower campus. And actually, so they've started a position on both the lower and the upper campus this year called the Dean of Disciple Development, or the D3 as they're calling it. And they've asked me to do that on the lower campus, and they're actually the pastor from the Foursquare Church in town, Eli Watley, his wife, is actually the D3 for the upper campus. So really a focus, not just on kind of chaplaincy work, even though we'll do that if need be, but really on discipling and walking alongside kids, staff, teachers, but especially the students, helping them to identify their gifts, to help them know, of course, that they are loved by God, and then to really live into those gifts that they have, and helping to really intentionally disciple them. So it's very part-time thing for me, but I'm not going to be around church on Wednesdays anymore. I shifted my day off from Friday to Wednesdays. So I'm going to be over at Three Rivers campus by North Lake Church there all day on Wednesdays. I'm going to be leading chapel, which is a little unique in this time than it normally is, as we're basically streaming into the kids' classrooms. But yeah, so I get to do chapel and just be kind of that pastoral presence on campus. So, and then I'm also going to be over there a little bit on Friday mornings, and then the rest of Friday, since I shifted my day off to Wednesday, I'm going to be doing some work. So it's a good time for me to do sermon, kind of review my sermon for Sunday as I'm preaching this Sunday on preaching weeks. And the other thing I want to commit to, since Friday afternoons are downtime around the church, I thought it'd be a great time for me to commit to once a week sending out a video message on Fridays, just as a way to kind of kickstart the weekend. Sometimes, like when I'm preaching, I'll maybe give a little teaser or something like that. But just as a way to touch base, especially for those of you who are still just staying home, staying safe that way. I figure it's a way that I can touch base with all of you as well. So Friday afternoons, I'm going to be sending out these video messages again. So I'm excited for that. I've really enjoyed them throughout this pandemic. I'm excited to continue doing them. And I'm really excited for this opportunity I have, not only to continue the same work I'm doing at Emmanuel, but also to be able to invest over at Three Rivers Christian School a bit and disciple kids there. I'm really excited about that. So I just wanted to cue you in on that, a little change in my schedule, but also I'm excited for these videos on Fridays. So what I want to share with you today, and I'll just do it briefly because I don't want this to be too lengthy, is a verse I actually shared at chapel with the kids on Wednesday. I'm going to be working through the book of Ephesians with them through the whole year, 6 chapters, lots in there about identity in Christ, and then living for Christ in the world. I think it's crucial now for people and kids to know their identity in Christ, to know their love, to know they are called to be his disciples, but then maybe especially what it looks like to live for Christ in the world today, because as we know, it's crazy out there and there's such a need for disciples in the world today. And so the verse that I use is really kind of smack dab in the middle of Ephesians. It's Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20, and it's a verse that kind of stirred up for me when I was just inquiring about chaplaincy work over there. And then this other opportunity came up, and I thought of Ephesians 3:20, which says, "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we can ask or imagine, according to his power at work within us." And I thought, there are those times when we're expecting something or going after something or asking God for something, and he shows up in a way that's immeasurably more, infinitely more, abundantly more, whatever word you want to use there, whatever adverb you want to use, but than we could ever ask or even imagine. And I just think it just is such a great reminder that God is so much bigger than we can fathom, because he's God. If we could totally comprehend God with our brains, he wouldn't be much of a God. The fact that we can't, that he's given us glimpses, he's revealed himself in different ways, especially through the scriptures, and most fully in Jesus Christ, we know some about God, but God is still so beyond us, beyond our finite minds. And I love that verse because it reminds us that even when we're dreaming and, bugs flying, dreaming and thinking of big things, that God is immeasurably more than any of that. And so I love that reminder. And so I try to help the kids see that this week, that especially with all the craziness going on. I mean, really, when you think about it, as I was sharing that message, I thought, living amidst a global pandemic is big enough. I mean, it's been 100 years. None of us really have lived through that. Maybe a few have when they were very little, but it is unprecedented. It's such a unique thing. That would be enough. Then you have all the other things swirling in our society of the ongoing fight against racism, the people distrusting the police despite all the good that they do in society. We have just a massive divisiveness on the political spectrum, which is only going to get worse over the next couple months, unfortunately. We have wildfires and hurricanes and all these things going, and it's just there's so much. And then, as I said to the kids, then there's anything that you're personally dealing with that's just lumped into all that. It's a lot, and I think because that we're all asking God for a lot of things right now, especially to be past all of this. We're imagining life beyond all these things. But the amazing thing to me is that verse that God is able to do immeasurably more than we can even ask or imagine. God is at work right now in ways that we can't even see. And God has things in store for us that we can't even imagine. And I think that's such a great reminder, because I truly do. I know I probably sound like a broken record with this. I truly believe that in the midst of everything going on, especially the pandemic, that God is mightily at work for a purpose. I think He is, in a lot of ways, is pruning us, is pruning His church. So there's a lot of things you were doing that were ineffective, or that weren't really maybe of me, or that you just needed to stop doing. And this pandemic has caused us to rethink things, or maybe things we needed to start doing. Case in point, our online engagement. We were hardly scratching the surface with that. Now, we're not doing it at the extent that a lot of churches already were doing or are now doing, but we've taken some huge strides forward. And I think that's really important because it's a powerful way to reach people today. Even once we're back to normal, there are a lot of people who we'll never reach in person. We live in a digital world. We need to capitalize on that. And so I just think God is using this in a mighty way to prune us, to move us forward, and just to make us more like the church He wants us to be. Now, again, we have to be willing to submit to that work, and that's not always the easiest. Sometimes we resist that. We just want to get back to normal. We want to do what we were doing before. So we really need to be open to His work in this. But if we are, I believe God is working mightily in all this. So that's, I guess, my reminder, my encouragement for you. Sorry, I have a plane flying overhead. The perils of recording outside, but it's so nice out. Hold, please. Oh, man. Okay. It's died down a little. My encouragement for you today, and I can't even remember if I've lifted up this verse previously in these videos, because it feels like I've been doing them for a long time now, but maybe a good reminder as aspects of life are kind of getting back to normal, like with some school and some businesses reopening, all those kinds of things. Just being reminded that even as crazy as things are right now, that just trusting that God is at work, and that, again, we're asking for big things, we're imagining big things, we're not even scratching the surface for what God can do and what I believe God is going to do, and in a lot of ways is already doing. So hopefully that's encouraging. It is for me. I really just have been leaning into that verse a lot this past week, and just realizing that that God's up to big things. And then I love that part about according to His power at work within us, that God has all these big things in store, and really He wants to use us to come alongside Him. We've been talking about that in evangelism. It's true in so many facets that God uses His church, uses His people to accomplish His great things. So that's an encouragement. Let's just be open to wherever God's leading in this next season of life, in the middle of the pandemic, as we move out of the pandemic. Just saying, all right, God, what do you have in store for us? I think it's going to look pretty different from the past, but to me, that shouldn't be a scary thing. That should be an exciting thing, because even though it's unknown to us, it is known to God, and we can trust Him. So God bless you all. I hope you have a great weekend. I'm looking forward to preaching this Sunday as we wrap up our series on evangelism. And if you're there in person, I look forward to seeing you. If you're worshiping from home, I look forward to being seen through your screen. And just know we love you all, and we're praying for you. Thank you for your prayers for us as well. So God bless you, friends.